Morning. The time is 10:31. My name is Rick Williams. I'm the Chair of the Development Committee. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Arroyo, Doherty,
Right here.
Garcia,
Here.
Iqbal,
Iqbal here.
Linder,
Linder here.
Epi, Leonard, Roth,
Roth is here.
Berman, Williams.
Present.
You have an in-person quorum?
We have remote attendance requests by Mr. Doherty and Mr. Berman for health reasons. Is there any objection? Seeing none, they will be permitted to participate via Zoom. Is there any public comment? I believe there is, right? Other than agenda items? Okay. I would ask for a motion to approve the minutes of July 15th, 2015.
Linda would ask for unanimous consent to approve the minutes of July 15th, 2025.
Any objection? The minutes are approved. Monthly financial reports are on file. Does anybody have any questions for staff? Seeing none, we'll move on to the Building and Zoning Division, the Building and Zoning Report. Mr. Van Kerkhoff.
Good morning, Mark Van Kerkhoff. Good to see everyone this morning. I have a couple items under this verbal report. One is just in the last number of days, we had 3 new single-family residential permit applications come in. So I think we're going to start to see or usually end of summer, early fall pickup in permits. People wanting to beat the winter season. Also, just as an update, continuing to work on the proposed revised building permit fee schedule. We weren't prepared to have that on the agenda today, so we should have that for September. And again, as the committee, had consensus on, we would be making the fees effective January 1st. So I have a little bit of time to finish those up, but those will be coming next month. And then sort of bigger picture, not just building and zoning, but the entire department. Continuing to make progress on the reorganization of our department with the inclusion of the staff from the former Office of Community Reinvestment. I want to thank Jamie Laburlo and Mr. Williams for their assistance with me on that. There'll be more information on that at the special meeting, as will be part of my budget presentation at that time next week. And also, some of you may be aware that at admin committee last week, Friday at their special meeting, they reviewed and forwarded on with approval a resolution for a capital project that would be for new furniture and new layout on the 4th floor in order to accommodate the additional staff and improve efficiencies. And not to mention that those partitions predate me even. So they've been there a long time. So I appreciate your support as that resolution goes through as well. If you have any questions, happy to answer them at this time. Otherwise,
Dr. Iqbal, you have a question?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, regarding the efficiency on the 4th floor, is the workforce development department moving on back to the 4th floor?
I'm sorry, is who
He's
moving?
asking if we're moving the workforce development back to the 4th floor.
No, they will remain in their offices that they rent in Batavia. And they're, still an independent department, the Workforce Development Department. So these changes will be to accommodate the staff and programs that were from the Community Development Division of OCR, namely the CDBG and home programs, emergency rental assistance program that we're wrapping up, and those staff members.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions for Mr. Van Kerkhoff? Seeing none, we'll move to our first zoning petition. It's a minor adjustment for Weiss Commercial LLC.
Yes, thank you. Mark Van Kerkhoff again. This petition actually was just before you earlier this year, especially zoning to F2 for the Weiss property. It's before you this morning because they have a request to change one of the conditions as well as a minor adjustment to the site plan. This is their letter of request. Generally what it is one of the conditions had to do with the wording around detention. Jody Wellnick's here for some of the specifics on that, but we decided that the change in what they wanted to do would be best handled through this minor variation process afforded by the zoning ordinance. A clarification in terms of paying the fee in lieu of detention, and have approval of some additional parking spaces. So if you recall, this is its location at the northwest intersection of Peck Road and Kesslinger Road. Here it is on the zoning map, and it's surrounded by the city of Geneva, but remains unincorporated. Here's an aerial photo. This is the original site plan that was submitted. And I'll show you the difference on the actual built conditions. Generally on the north side, they added just a small paved area for some additional parking. And then the area circled on the lower portion is where they want to do the fee in lieu of retention, as opposed to some of the things that they had as a condition in their original proposal. This will allow them to make more productive use of the grass area in there. So, and Ms. Wellnick, I don't know if you have anything you want to add to that or not. Otherwise, we're happy to answer any questions, but what we'd be looking for, here's the staff comments from Water Resources. I believe that's also in your packet. Staff recommendation, we did send a notice of the minor adjustment to adjoining property owners and jurisdictions, didn't have any comments or objections. All the other original conditions and stipulations from the original special use zoning remain in effect. And our recommendation will be that you approve this minor variation request this morning. Happy to answer any questions.
I have one question. What is the fee that they're paying in lieu of the detention?
The standard fee is $90,000 an acre foot. And it is the greater of the construction cost or that $90,000 an acre foot. So, we have their engineer put together a cost estimate, and if the $90,000 is higher, in some cases where you have retaining walls that would have had to be constructed, the construction cost ends up being the higher of the two. So we make that determination in the office, and then based on their calculations for the site, how much is required, it's allocated to that amount.
Do you have an approximate fee we'll be receiving?
I don't. Ann Wilford probably does, but, oh, she's in the audience. Thank you,
And
Ann.
would you please come up? Thank you.
Oh, it's on. So I just got the engineer's opinion of cost from the Weiss engineer. I think it's going to be probably about $6,000 between like what they're spending on the management practices that they're doing and the difference between like what's being provided and what they're doing fee in lieu.
Thank you. Mr. Linder, you have a question?
Yeah, I do. I'm aware of a situation that happened a few years back where some residential property took a pretty big hit from a creek because there'd been a bunch of stuff upstream that had been purchased credits instead of doing detention and retention. Do we look at the possible ramifications of not doing retention or detention in this place?
Correct. The stormwater ordinance specifically has a set of requirements that must be met in order to allow for fee in lieu of detention. And one of those is the fact that they're at or below the current peak flows off the site. And so, for example, Nicor Gas out west of here did fee in lieu of detention, and they were required to do a bermed area. So they still back up water on their property to slow the water down and then meter it out. It's just not as large of an area as a detention facility is. So what the residents see downstream is very similar to what they would have seen in pre-development, and that's a stormwater ordinance requirement. So if there is a development that is having an impact like that, it shouldn't be.
Okay, this is an unusual piece of property, by the way. I went out and looked at it. It's kind of you pull in and then it's kind of a down and they've got it all fenced off. I would think you get some water off the road coming all the way down the hill there, but
Yeah, and it should be slowed down. So if there's a specific site that we maybe need to review and audit, the permitting process for it, you could send it our way.
I'm fine.
Yeah, this property is really bermed on both sides, both by Peck Road and and Kesslinger. As a result of the overpass that was built many years ago for the railroad tracks. I drive by this property all the time. They keep this property in very good state of repair. I mean, it's very nice. All their operations that I've seen, they've got other locations in the county, are kept to Class A standards by my observation. So I don't have any objection to this.
Yeah, it looked nice. I didn't go in because it looked like on threat of death with
Yeah.
all the signs and stuff, but from the top, it looked very nice, very well kept.
Any other questions? Okay, I think we're ready for someone to make a motion to approve.
So moved.
Moved by Dr. Iqbal, seconded by Ms.
Garcia.
Garcia. Roll call vote, please.
Doherty,
Doherty, yes.
Garcia,
Garcia, yes.
Iqbal,
Iqbal, yes.
Linder,
Linda, yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Passes.
Thank you. Next item on our agenda is petition number 4664. The petitioner is Anamite Solar LLC. Natalie, are you handling this one? Okay.
Yes, sir. Blair, would you mind putting up the PowerPoint? Morning, everyone. Natalie Zine. All right, we've got another solar petition for you. This is zoning petition number 4664 for Anamite Solar. They're requesting a special use permit in the F farming zoning district to allow for the development of a commercial solar energy facility. The property is located west of Nestler Road, north of the railroad tracks, south of Fitchy Creek. We're up in Plato Township. And this is County Board District 14, Jonathan Gripe. The subject property above, it highlights the entire property, but the project really is just located in the northern half. Here's an aerial map showing the surrounding area. You can see it's primarily farmland, that forest preserve, some nearby subdivisions, residential. Here we have our zoning map. Again, the white areas are F for farming district. Directly to the east, you see the special use zoning for another solar project. And then again, we have Fitchy Creek Forest Preserve, some residential subdivisions, and more of the F district. Here's our conceptual land use strategy plan. This is in the critical growth area. And the future land use designation, is resource management. A lot of our solar facilities have been in this designation. It essentially facilitates mixed use development with consideration of nearby municipality plans. Here's a closer view of that. Again, resource management. All right, here is the proposed site plan. You can see they're accessing the development from Nestler Road and then taking that agricultural access west to the subject property and then north up to the facility. I think the next slide shows it closer. Here we go. So you can see the orientation of the solar panels. There's some landscaping along the western border. They are meeting all of the required setbacks according to the King County zoning ordinance. Just threw this in so you could get an idea of how far it is from the residential. It's over 900 feet. To the west is that subdivision. There's no other residential to the north or east. I also included this slide so that you could see the previously approved Nestler Road solar project. That project has not yet applied for any building permits, but I do believe that they're going to soon. So both of these projects are accessed from Nestler Road. I think they have two different access roads, but I'd have to double check that. But so just so you can see the proximity of the projects. Again, here's the landscape vegetation proposed. During the ZBA meeting, there was a little bit of discussion on more of the specifics for the landscaping. The ZBA actually outlined a stipulation so that the landscaping that will be included during permits has to be a minimum of 5 foot in height at planting, the evergreen trees, and 15 foot on center. That's consistent with most of the plans that have been approved so far. I do believe the applicant provided a landscape plan today, just illustrating that. But again, the stipulation was included in the ZBA's recommendation, and that would therefore be included during the time of permitting as well. They didn't include a fence detail in their original submittal, but it will meet code at time of permitting. That will be ensured. And just really quick as a note, there was a comment recently about the types of fences that have been getting approved. One of the stipulations or recommendations rather from the IDNR is that the fences used are open and allow for the passage of animals and water. So that, in addition to other comments from staff and things, have directed us to encourage these types of agricultural fencing rather than a chain link fence or a privacy fence that would not allow for the movement of small animals and water flow. So that has actually been carried through in most projects because of those recommendations. Just wanted to share that. We've got our standard stipulations from Water Resources. I won't read through them, but they're pretty much the same as all of our previous plans. Transportation did review the project. The Nestler Road is under the jurisdiction of Plato Township, and they have indicated that the access proposed to be used is existing and acceptable for the solar facility. The Pingree Grove and Countryside Fire Protection District also reviewed the petition and indicated that their only potential concern is the access road. They just want to make sure that the road can carry 60,000 pounds. And that would all be, again, definitively approved during the permitting process. We do require a letter from the Fire Protection District at time of permitting that saying that they have approved the plans. So it'll all be constructed to their standards. No comments from health. The EcoCat report came back with their conclusion that adverse effects are unlikely and provided their standard 5 recommendations. Right, that again is where we get the pollinator friendly ground cover and some of the planting recommendations, and then again that fence. The State Historic Preservation Office reviewed it and determined that this project is exempt from the archaeological survey. The NRI report from the Kane DuPage Soil and Water Conservation District indicated an LE score of 29 and an SA score of 32 for a total score of 31, placing this development in a low protection effort area for development. You can see the areas in green are considered prime farmland and the blue prime farmland if drained. The Fish and Wildlife Service consultation results came back, and the letter from Kimley Horn concluded that their project would have no effect on the federally listed species, their habitats, or designated critical habitat. Therefore, no incidental take is anticipated and no consultation with the USFWS is required based on the project. The applicant anticipates needing a level 2 wetlands delineation and is coordinating with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. All of that documentation will be completed as a part of the stormwater permit and then the building permit applications as well. There were no state dedicated nature preserves in the vicinity of the proposed solar project, and we did receive an executed AMA agreement as required. So here are the 12 recommended stipulations of approval. The original stipulations of approval, again, there's no stipulation regarding transportation because the existing access will be acceptable. Here are the standards of a special use for reference. So the zoning board reviewed this project at a public hearing on Tuesday, August 5th. That meeting was continued to August 12th to finish. We heard some testimony from a couple of neighbors regarding the landscaping. And again, that seemed to have all been sorted through the new stipulation that the ZBA added. I also received one email of opposition that was uploaded to the King County website. The ZBA ultimately voted to recommend approval of zoning petition 4664 with the recommended stipulations and this additional stipulation 13 that vegetative screening consistent with the Kane County zoning ordinance shall be provided and shall include a continuous line of evergreen trees along the western side of the facility with a minimum planting height of 5 feet and a maximum separation distance of 15 feet on center. We're discussing it today at Development Committee, and the next and final meeting would be at the King County Board on Tuesday, September 9th. And that concludes staff's report.
Any questions for staff? Would the petitioner like to address the committee?
So it's good.
Yes.
Thanks. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for having me. My name is Nadeem Damian, and I'm a senior development manager at Cultivate Power. Cultivate Power is the developer of Anamite Solar, and I myself am the project manager. I wanted to start by just saying thank you to the staff for thoroughly reviewing our application and very effectively communicating ahead of the ZBA hearing, as well as this hearing. So a special thanks to Natalie and team. I'm happy to share that there has not been, as Natalie mentioned, significant opposition to the project, with only one couple who live in the Oak Ridge Farm subdivision attending the ZBA. And the Oak Ridge Farm subdivision is the subdivision that Natalie showed on screen that is over 900 feet to the west of the project. In the lead up to that August 5th meeting, we engaged those neighbors and had a few conversations with them related to the visual impact. Given their concerns, we committed to enhance and add clarity, as Natalie mentioned, in that additional stipulation, which was eventually adopted by the ZBA. We're, of course, very happy to agree to this stipulation, and I really want to note that we're committed to developing a landscape plan that is, in accordance with county requirements and reduces viewshed impact from the neighbors in the Oak Ridge Farm subdivision. As Natalie mentioned, and as you all should have in front of you, the landscape plan, which reflects this stipulation, was handed out to development committee members before this hearing. We're actively in conversations with a few local nurseries to sort of better understand how we can go above and beyond that minimum height requirement of 5 feet, as the conversations that we had with those neighbors were related to the height of the trees in particular. Lastly, I just sort of want to note, we really believe this project is in line with county and municipal land use plans. There's the existing special use permit that was approved to the east for the solar project. Elgin had no comment on this project or no plans for development in this area. And of course, the AMA that this project has executed requires that the project return to either a agricultural state or be used for some other purpose post decommissioning. So thank you so much for allowing me to speak to you today, and respectfully requesting that you please support this petition. Thank you so much. And if you have further questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the petitioner? Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak on this subject? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to approve.
Linder will move.
Moved by Linder, seconded by Dr. Iqbal. Any discussion? Seeing no request for discussion, let's call the roll.
Doherty,
Doherty, yes.
Garcia,
Garcia, yes.
Iqbal,
Iqbal, yes.
Linder,
Linder, yes.
Williams.
Williams, yes. Okay, property code enforcement, Mr. Mall.
Good morning, John Mall, King County Code Enforcement Officer. Attached to your packet here is our statistical monthly report that we include every month with the detailed data for the previous month. Also, I emailed all county board members their the newer monthly county board monthly report, which has a little more detail and some addresses and things of that nature. So just as a reminder, if your constituents want a copy of that, they can get it subject to FOIA, and then we will redact what needs to be redacted before sending that out. Last month was a busy month. It was busier than 2022 and 2023. We had 49 new cases. We worked on 73 cases, closed 33, and took 4 new cases to adjudication. And additionally to that, Brittany Garcia, our admin, had her 2nd year anniversary last month. So she's been with us for 2 years now.
Congratulations, Britt.
She's not here today.
Oh, maybe she's
I'll
listening.
pass it along.
Or she'll watch it. So, yeah.
Any questions from anyone? Okay.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Any update on that dirt bike track on Hughes Road? I've heard nothing about that for months. I was expecting to hear some.
I've not heard anything from the complainants anymore either.
Good, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Mall?
Thank you.
John. Planning and special projects, monthly report.
Good morning, Mark Van Kerkhoff again. You have in the packet our Planning and Special Projects Division report. Most of these activities are reported to other committees. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have on those. Since I was away, I did not get the new section inserted. As I've added from other months, our new community and housing development activities. So I have a verbal report update for you on those activities, which have been very busy. So first of all, one of our programs we inherited that ends effectively for obligating and spending money ends on September 30th. It's from the Department of the Treasury, known as the Emergency Rental Assistance Program 2, which is federal funds. There's a number of buckets of spending that we are working diligently to spend as much of the money as we can before the end of September. We have 5 capital projects. Those were on the county board agenda just last week. Just solidifying naming those projects. We're working to use that. We have a 25% cap on affordable rental housing projects. So we're working closely with those developers. We have 4 subrecipients who are doing housing stabilization and counseling services, continuing to work with them for them to spend the money that's been obligated for them. Our own internal project, which has been our homeless prevention program, providing rental assistance to persons who are in arrears. And those payments go directly to the landlord. We had a big publicity campaign. Want to thank Julie Mann and King County Connects and all the other departments that were a part of that. City of Aurora put it out on their websites. So we've had a boatload of applications that came in. the application period closed at the end of July. So our team is now diligently doing the processing, screening, getting additional information on those. And again, we have until the end of September to have signed agreements for those rental payments as well. With that, we have also on this agenda this morning an additional option
May I
that we
interrupt you? I think
Sure.
Mr. Caius
I'm
has a
sorry.
question.
What
Move on.
define boatload for me?
load somewhere about over 200 new applications.
All right,
And I know it's more than that. I'm sorry, I don't have an exact number, but
that's fine.
so we're very pleased with that. Yes. So in your packet this morning related to this program, we are also in discussions and maybe looking to have the county board enter an intergovernmental agreement with IDA, which is the Illinois Housing Development Authority. They have also used the same type of funds from the federal government for similar programs. And the idea behind the agreement is that if we are not able to spend all of our funds, that they may have avenues to be able to spend any funds that we aren't going to spend on similar rental assistance or another capital project located in Kane County that they have already approved and ready to go. So generally, the idea is money that we don't spend, we send back to the treasury, and we don't want to do that. We want to spend as much as we can, especially in Kane County. So we're kind of exploring all options as we come down to the wire. The other aspect of that is we a little over a month ago, brought on a contract employee, Catherine Romanowski, through MGT, the same kind of government specialization employment agency that we've used in a couple other key positions recently. She has worked out really, really well, and I'll be looking to work with purchasing and you all to extend her contract to help with the closeout of this grant. The two principal staff members who were running this grant are no longer with us, and we're going to need some additional help in closeout. The good news is we have plenty of administration money with this grant in order to pay for her contractual services to assist us with that. So any questions on that before I move on?
Dr. Iqbal?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to know the reason why the money was left unspent.
Sure, I can give you more detailed description as I understand it, but in general, is my understanding, part of it is that this is COVID era money that a number of different branches of the U.S. government flooded local governments and agencies with. In this particular program, it was very specialized in terms of how it could be used for rental assistance. It's known as ERAP-2 because it's the second wave of money through this program. They discovered that communities, states, local agencies were having a hard time spending the money that they were given. So they opened the option of spending money on affordable rental housing projects for actual construction, renovation, that kind of thing. That was sort of late in the game with a cap on what it could be spent on. So in short, the money has a lot of strings, and that made it difficult to spend down. We are basically, when we inherited the program, looked at all the three or four buckets the money's being spent out of, and have done our best to accelerate the spending and work with the partners and but spend it within what the grant allows. So I hope that helps, but that's sort of a general overview. Okay, I have a couple just other updates.
Yeah, go ahead, Mark.
Unless there's any other questions on that.
Any other questions? All right, please proceed.
Okay, other than that, one of the other new programs is our Community Development Block Grant Program. I am so grateful to Nazreen and Chris Dahl and others who worked on getting their 5-year consolidated plan submitted to HUD. Last week at the county board, the county board adopted the consolidated 5-year consolidated plan. Elgin's, we're in a consortium with Elgin. Their city council passed their plan just I think Wednesday evening, and on Thursday, our team submitted the actual consolidated plan to HUD. It's now in their hands for review, and we expect they'll have some comments that will come back as well. We'll also be repeating the public review and comment period for the consolidated plan, just due to some changes that they wanted us to make on the numbers and how we were reporting the funds that were being used for the project. So it's a minor change, but we'll repeat that process, and we hope to have a approved consolidated plan in the next 45 days and then be able to sign the intergovernmental agreements for the projects to move ahead.
Did you want, are you looking for a resolution, a motion for your resolution on the cable franchise agreement? Did you skip over that? Do you want to talk about that?
No, I'll go ahead and introduce that. There's no other questions on the staff report.
No.
Okay, the next item before you is expansion of a cable television franchise agreement. And Blair, if you could put the map up. I'm just going to introduce it and then turn it over to Chris Toth, and our cable TV consultant, Stu Chapman, is with us this morning. This is our existing cable TV franchise map. There's historically cable television systems back in the 1980s, were developed around community hubs, oftentimes in a municipality, and then they would expand their cable TV lines and services out to unincorporated neighborhoods. So we have kind of a hodgepodge of different cable TV franchises now, which are currently either run by Comcast. There's a statewide franchise for Mediacom and AT&T, and then MetroNet has some more restricted areas in the blue. But what's noticeable on the map are the 3 townships in the northwest corner that are in white. Those areas currently have are not covered by any franchise agreement. And for quite some time, it's been a sort of a personal desire or goal to see somebody cover some of them. And so we have a proposal this morning for Comcast to extend their franchise area to include all of Hampshire Township, which will provide more options and services beyond just cable TV to those residents. So I'm going to turn it over to Chris Toth, and like I mentioned, Stu Chapman, who's been our longtime cable TV consultant, is also here with us this morning. And also want to thank our state's attorney's office for their assistance with this.
Thank you, Mark. Chris Toth speaking. Yeah, just Mark hit most of the big major points on the head. This is an expansion of an already existing agreement that was passed by the Kane County Board in 2020. This is an expansion for franchise under subsidiary of Comcast, Comcast of Northern Illinois, Inc., who is already in Dundee Township. And on attachment A, they are already included on that table. This would just be a service agreement for Hampshire Township that would just require a resolution passed by the board to increase their service area. It's pretty cut and dry. It's just that Mark had mentioned Hampshire doesn't have any cable services already, so this would allow them to have at least one choice for their cable services provider.
So I have a question. So why only Hampshire Township? Why not Virgil and I don't know if that's Blackberry or not, but why not expand it for the rest of the county?
Sure. So we did ask that question, asked them, and they did, to Comcast credit, they went back several times to their projections and sales teams to see whether they could include those at this time. The remaining 2 townships, Burlington and Virgil Township, are very sparsely populated, and there's great distances between farmhouses. There's very few subdivisions. Hampshire is attractive. There are just enough clusters of unincorporated homes or subdivisions that it makes sense for them to do this. But we did ask several times, and they did take a look. Doesn't mean that they couldn't do that in the future, but right now we're pleased that they're proposing to cover Hampshire Township.
So basically, the cost to extend the infrastructure wouldn't yield a return that was satisfactory to warrant the investment, I'm assuming.
Correct, yes.
So what is the return to the county on expanding the franchise?
Sure. So fall under the existing agreement with the 5% franchise fee that we collect on just the cable TV portion. As you know, the services that all companies are providing include internet, phone, and cable and streaming. It's just the cable TV portion that we get. So it's not going to be a substantial bump. I'm not proposing any change on my projections for 2026 based on it, just because I'm hoping this will help offset any losses that we may realize due to people switching from cable TV to just using streaming services. So I think it'll be sort of a net, loss or gain, but is a benefit financially to the county, but more importantly to the residents that will have additional options for services.
Thank you. I guess I should ask for a motion on the resolution for the expansion of cable TV franchise agreement by and between the County of Kane and Comcast of Northern Illinois Incorporated to include the Township of Hampshire.
So moved.
Moved by Dr. Iqbal, seconded by
Linder.
Mr. Lindner. Any discussion or other questions for staff? Okay, let's call the roll.
Doherty,
Yes.
Garcia,
Garcia, yes.
Iqbal,
Yes.
Linder,
Linder, yes.
Williams.
Yes. Thank you.
I just wanted to thank Mr. Chapman for joining us this morning in case there was any questions. But the reason it was so easy, mostly because of the knowledge and experience and great work that he brought to this expansion request.
Thank you for your help. We appreciate it. Thank you. All right, I would entertain a motion to approve the execution of an intergovernmental agreement with the Illinois Housing Development Authority to utilize funding from the Emergency Rental Assistance Program.
Linder will move.
Moved by Lindner, seconded by Dr. Iqbal. Any discussion? Any questions? Call the roll, please.
Doherty,
Yes. Doherty, yes.
Garcia,
Garcia, yes.
Iqbal,
Well, yes.
Linder,
Linder, yes.
Williams.
Williams, yes. Thank you. Moving on to our subdivision report, Ms. Orlick.
Well, Ms. Orlick's getting set up. One thing I neglected in my staff report, with our emergency rental assistance program that we're running internally, I also wanted to note that we brought additional existing staff resources to assist Brittany Garcia, John Mall's team, bringing her bilingual skills and ability to assist in translations and phone calls has been really valuable. And then also Sarah Castro, who is our farmland protection program administrator, also has grant experience, has been a great help in screening the applications. I just want to credit them and thank them.
Good to hear. Thank you. All right, Ms. Orlick.
Good morning. In front of you today, you have a minor adjustment out in the Mill Creek area. This is for a swimming pool as well as a pool deck. We are just north of Hughes Road. You can see the here where the star is located. And move forward. Oh, now it went twice. Sorry. This is a little close-up of the area that is in question. These are smaller lots than what you typically have in front of you for a pool, for a adjustment on that PUD. The standard setback for a pool is 20 feet. The standard setback for the decking that goes around the pool, the sidewalk patio, and that such, is 10 feet from the property line. As you can see, these are shallower rear yards. Mill Creek was designed with the idea that the parcel will only cover 40% of the parcel. The majority of these houses in this particular area already cover that 40%. So the owner of this particular parcel has recognized that any additional impervious area must be considered pervious, and they've agreed to install any new decking around the new pool to be a pervious material. So this is a schematic of what that pool will look like. As you can see, it's only 11 feet from the rear property line as opposed to the 20. The deck is 7 feet as opposed to the 10. So this adjustment will not increase the overall density of the PUD, nor does it decrease the open space. There is no impact to public health. I personally did the notification to the neighbors within 250 feet, as well as all jurisdictions. I received no comments, no negative comments on this particular adjustment here. The adjustment's been done in accordance with the appropriate section of the subdivision code, and all the new improvements must be pervious for this particular improvement. Any questions?
So when you talk about a pervious surface, are you talking about permeable pavers?
Permeable pavers, it's the cross section underneath those pavers. It's very similar to our front parking lot out here, in which that actually functions as a detention area. It allows the water to percolate all the way through. So it's the subsection underneath those pavers that will allow the water to drain.
Any questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Garcia?
By doing this, what about the other neighbors? Are we going to see this improvements in the future for the other houses?
We see this sometimes occur. One neighbor gets a pool and all of a sudden 6 of them sprout out. So it could very well happen. As I said, I had no comments from any of the neighbors. I did ask for the owner of this particular lot to speak with her neighbors, and I encouraged her to get a letter from the neighbors that they were in agreement with the pool being so close to the adjacent property lines. The comments that I received back is that the neighbors had no issue with it, but no letters would be forthcoming to verify that.
Miss Allen, did you have a question?
I did. I couldn't tell. The pool is going, and the deck are going to be very close to the neighbors to the south.
Correct.
And there's a little bit of landscaping there to protect. Now, that neighbor also was notified, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, looking at the aerial, it looks like the neighbor of the south already has significant screening on their northerly property line.
Looks like arborvitae's, yes.
I would entertain a motion.
Linder will move.
Moved by Linder, seconded by Dr. Iqbal. Any other discussion? Okay, call the roll, please.
Doherty,
Doherty, aye.
Garcia, Sonia, yes. Iqbal,
Iqbal, yes.
Linder,
Linder, yes.
Williams.
Williams, yes. Moving on to environmental resources, Ms. Walnick.
Good morning. I have one item under water resources, and that is our stormwater fees. If we maybe can pull up page 131. There you go. It's a little hard to read, but it is in your packet. Thank you for making that larger. What we did in our previous meeting in the discussion with the state's attorney with our stormwater permit fees, we are required to use our actual cost for our department staff to calculate the fees. And in 2019, when the fee study was completed, we used the same Excel spreadsheet that was used back in 2019 that did have that data in it. What we found in updating the hourly rate for staff is in 2019, we had a hourly rate for staff, which includes benefits and overhead of $68 an hour. That did update to just below $85 an hour. That a lot of that had to do with the equity study that the county completed. So we took that 2019 Excel spreadsheet. What you're seeing on page 1 is a calculation of the actual hourly costs to review the various types of permits under the stormwater ordinance. With the far right column being 100% of the costs, the second to the right being 75%, 50%. And again, as this was originally set up in 2019, and at that time we had different current fees, but those are our current fees as of 2019. So you can kind of see the cost difference in some of the permits where we're losing a bit of money. But we're trying to kind of balance the fact that we want to make sure that these small applicants for stormwater permits are affordable for our residents. Where we have instances where there's development being proposed in special management areas, we always want to discourage development in the floodplains and the wetlands. And so we are at closer to 100% of those costs versus some of the other ones, which might be slightly lower. So that is a version of the updated, so you are able to kind of go through and compare our current fees and what our actual current costs are on this first page. If you could scroll to the second page, this is what we're actually proposing. And I've highlighted for your information the new fees that we are proposing, where we're seeing in our department that we're losing some of our revenue because we aren't able to charge fees for some of these items. I'll go through those specifically, and then if you have any questions, I can speak to that in more detail. First off, we have a lot of violations that we process. Certainly, John Mull's group is of great help to that, but we spend a lot of staff time working through with property owners on their violations. So we've looked at the costs over the last year and the number of violations that we've processed along with the hours. And feel that the $500 fee for a violation is also a discouragement, but also helps us recoup some of those costs for those violations. Additionally, we are seeing, we currently have a $50 fee for pools, sheds, and additions that's paid for through development department and the building permit fees. We are spending significant additional time for those larger structures. And so we're suggesting that we separate those by the 600 square foot. So we would have a $50 fee for the smaller ones and a $100 fee for larger. In addition, the zoning petitions, as you're seeing, many of the solar petitions coming through, there's significant staff time upfront involved in staff meetings and meeting with the solar petitioners as well as other petitioners on the zoning side of things. And so having a fee that we're recouping some of those costs for our review and our stipulations that are being developed as part of the zoning process. We're recommending a $250 fee for residential and a $500 fee for non-residential for that. And the final, it's not a new fee, but at the bottom line is this BMP. When the 2019 ordinance came through and the requirement for BMPs was in place, we did have a placeholder and the intent to use the detention fee in lieu of $90,000 an acre foot for BMPs until we had a better gauge on how much it was actually costing to put in BMPs. And so over the last 5 years, we've gathered that data and are proposing a $5 per cubic foot fee for the BMP, and looking at our adjacent counties, that would be very comparable with what they're charging as well. So, and then again, you can kind of look at page 1 and page 2 and kind of see the slight differences between our proposed versus our existing, as well as the costs. So what we'd like to do along with Director Van Kerkhoff is if you have any comments on this or any questions, we can make some refinements to it if necessary and bring this back in September for approval. Our original thought was to have it be effective December 1st, but along with Mark, maybe it makes more sense to have them both effective January 1st of 2026.
Any questions for Ms. Walnick on this,
Yeah.
Dr. Iqbal?
Yeah, hi, Jody. Yeah, question regarding the solar petition you said, but it's not mentioned here. Your table is only for the zoning petitions. Is that considered a zoning petition or a special use petition?
It would be considered a zoning petition, non-residential.
Even if it is not change of zoning?
Correct.
So in that vein, you said staff spends a significant amount of time. Do you think staff spends more than $500 worth of time on these petitions?
We looked at our actual hours and some are slightly less, some are slightly more. And so we feel like the $500 versus Mark's current fees for zoning is a reasonable figure for that.
So I note under the violation, you have $500. Maybe this is a question for our state's attorney, but what is the minimum fee and the maximum fee we can charge for a violation for a stormwater violation? Is it just like a Class A misdemeanor or Class C misdemeanor?
It's actually in the stormwater ordinance and it's $500 a day.
500 per day. Okay. And do we actually charge that or do we?
We've never charged that. No.
Okay.
We file a court case for stormwater violation.
Microphone, please.
Could you approach the dais, please? Sorry. We need a microphone here, Don.
In each individual case, it depends on the circumstances. In the adjudication process, they will make an assessment of damages and they will start the $500 fee or fine running. By the time you get to the court case, the amount of the fine can be a significant amount of money. And then it is up to the judge to make a determination of whether to affirm the adjudication fee or whether to cut it. So it's flexible, but normally if in the adjudication process, if a big damage fee or fine is assessed, normally we can get that amount in the court case.
It's really a hammer to get compliance, right? I mean, more than anything. I mean, we do assess a fee, but I mean, if you're looking at 1 year of $500 a day, if you continue this, that's.
You can easily wind up with starting out a court case with $10,000 against you to start.
Mr. Van Kerkhoff, you had a comment?
Yeah, I would just add, I mean, the discussion you're having currently revolves around the fines that can be assessed by the adjudication hearing officer or judge in a court case on the building permit. And we have within our fee schedule, even if it's never been adjudicated or goes to court, that if somebody begins construction without a permit, that we can assess we can double the permit fee in a sense as a penalty for the violation. I think this is what Ms. Walnick is suggesting built into their fee schedule, that there be something that they can assess as a violation. So in theory, if it was a building permit violation that had stormwater implications, they could apply this violation fee in addition to the residential or non-residential fee that would be part of the building permit that would resolve it.
Great. I guess the last question I have for you, Jody, is and you don't have to answer this today if you don't have the numbers, but what do you project these changes would generate in income from your department in 2026?
our income on the stormwater fees are significantly lower than Mark's. So it's a little bit hard to predict. I put in an additional $5,000 of fees generated in our 2026 budget, if these are approved, and I'm just being conservative. I think we'd be able to tell if we had a couple years worth of data, but I'm as being conservative because the majority of the fees, if you compare the two of them, have increased very little. And so it'll be dependent on how many stormwater permits we receive.
Any other questions for Ms. Walnick? Okay, I don't think we need to take any action on this, but thank you for the presentation. New business. Does anybody have any new business? I would just note that we're going to have our budget presentation at a special meeting on October 28th. And the reason for that is that on the advice of the state's attorney, they wanted to have that 60 days prior to the board adopting the budget. I spoke to, I believe, everybody. I know that Mr. Lindner has a conflict and can't be here. So I would ask Jody and Mark to send, or you can make it?
Yeah, I think we talked about this Thursday. Next Thursday's fine.
It is, it's the 28th. You're going to, okay, great. Well, then I'm not going to ask anything of you. So we look forward to your presentations on the 28th. I entertain a motion to place the reports on file.
So moved.
Moved by Dr. Iqbal, seconded by. I'll second it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
No need for executive session. As I indicated, we're going to do our budget presentation on the 28th, so we are not going to, I don't know, are we adjourning this or are we continuing this? Or adjourning to a date certain? So we would entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting to a special development committee meeting on Thursday, August 28th, 2025 at 11 a.m. in these chambers.
So moved.
Moved by Iqbal, seconded by.
Doherty.
Yep, Doherty seconds. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
One more. Come on. Thank you. We're